The year 1971 was a crossroads, a time of obscurity in music, and in the wider world, the optimism of the 1960s counterculture was giving way to a more uncertain decade. Yet music remained a unifying force, with the Vietnam War ever present in American homes, the moon landings a not-so-distant memory, and the civil rights movement having achieved substantial gains. Vinyl records spun tales of love, anger, protest, and disenchantment. Audiences were able to connect and express amid rising tensions abroad and shifting social norms at home. Meanwhile, technological leaps and sonic experimentation stirred imaginations. 1971 also witnessed the ascent of singer-songwriters, the evolution of hard rock, and the dawn of glam. Audiences craved authenticity and spectacle in equal measure. This countdown features 8 defining tracks that captured the year's moods and left an indelible mark on music history. Whether belting out stadium anthems or whispering intimate confessions, these songs still resonate more than half a century later. Let's dive in. In 8th, it's Changes by David Bowie. David Bowie's Changes opened his 1971 album Hunky Dory, ushering in glam rock's theatrical flair. Built around a looping piano riff and Bowie's unmistakable vocals, it became a manifesto of reinvention. The chorus mirrored the era's appetite for transformation, both personal and cultural. Lyrically, Changes wrestled with identity and the fear of obsolescence. Bowie channeled the essence of post-60s uncertainty, urging listeners to embrace change rather than resist it. He delivered the song on British TV in flamboyant makeup, signaling that pop could be art and performance could be revolution. Though it peaked modestly on the charts at the time, Changes gained stature as Bowie's signature tune. It foreshadowed alter egos like Ziggy Stardust and cemented his role as a boundary-pushing innovator. Today, its message remains timeless. Growth demands courage. In 7th, we have Without You by Nilsson. Harry Nilsson transformed Badfinger's heartbreak ballad Without You into a towering vocal showcase. Released in January 1971, his version soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, propelled by Nilsson's unique vocal delivery and soaring string arrangement. Recorded in Los Angeles, Without You captured the early 70s penchant for grand production. Nilsson towed the line between pop sensibility and emotional rawness, reflecting a culture ready to peel back glamour to expose vulnerability. Radio stations played it in heavy rotation, creating collective yearning in living rooms across America. This cover became the definitive version, eclipsing the popularity of the original and shaping the blueprint for future power ballads. Its influence stretched through the decade, inspiring artists to match its raw intensity. Even now, Without You remains a benchmark for vocal expressiveness. In 6th, we have Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones. Brown Sugar stormed onto the scene in April of 1971, thrusting listeners into the Rolling Stones' hedonistic world. Mick Jagger's snarling delivery rides a relentless groove courtesy of guitarist Keith Richards. Between its riff and rhythm, the track rides a potent mix of rock and roll swagger and southern blues homage. However, the lyrics courted controversy. They reference slavery and interracial desire, reflecting the band's penchant for provocative storytelling. In a year grappling with racial tensions, Brown Sugar polarized audiences, with some decrying its insensitivity, others praising its unflinching rawness. Despite the debate, the song topped UK charts and reached #2 in the US as the Stones toured North America that summer. Brown Sugar anchored their setlist, becoming a festival crowd favorite. Its legacy endures as both a classic riff and a flashpoint for conversations on art and responsibility. At 5th, we have Baba O'Riley by The Who. The Who's Baba O'Riley was released in November 1971 as the opening track of the album Who's Next. Its synthesizer loop, crafted by Pete Townsend, became instantly recognizable and synonymous with the sound of the 70s. The song was written by Townsend after abandoning a rock opera project, channeling frustration into an anthem for a lost generation. Roger Daltrey's powerhouse vocals became a rallying cry for youth disillusioned by war and societal breakdown. The song's driving beat captured the relentlessness of the early 70s. While it never charted as a single in the UK or US, Baba O'Riley gained traction through radio play and live performances. Its opening bars now rank among rock's most iconic intros, cementing The Who's place as architects of arena-shaking soundscapes. In 4th, we have American Pie by Don McLean. Don McLean released American Pie in October 1971, delivering an 8.5-minute folk rock odyssey. With cryptic verses referencing the day the music died, McLean subtly drew references to the 1959 plane crash that killed Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper. The song folded in reflections on 1960s upheaval, from free love dreams to assassinations. Its sprawling metaphors resonated in a year defined by generational tension. Audiences dissected McLean's allusions to Bob Dylan's The Jester, Altamont, Jack B. Nimble, and cultural lostness. Meanwhile, radio stations, wary of length, often faded the track early, only fueling the listener's demand to hear every line. American Pie topped charts globally, inspiring debates over its meaning that persists today. Beyond its allegory, it unified generations, grappling with nostalgia and change. Even now, its final lines, "the three men I admire most," linger like a bittersweet elegy for innocence lost. In third, it's Imagine by John Lennon. After leaving the Beatles in 1970, John Lennon crystallized his utopian ideals in Imagine. Released in October 1971, a simple piano motif underpins lyrics envisioning a world without borders, possessions, or war. Lennon's dream of global harmony echoed anti-war protests and the rise of new spiritual movements. Recorded in the New York City's Ascot Sound Studios, Imagine aligned with growing disillusionment toward governmental authority. Lennon and Yoko Ono having protested for peace earlier that year, making this song feel like a logical extension of their activism. Its call to give peace a chance galvanized both alternative and mainstream audiences. Though met with some criticism for perceived naivete, Imagine became a peace anthem. It reached the top 5 in the UK and top 10 in the US, embedding itself in global consciousness. Decades later, its message still resonates amid ongoing conflict. And second, we have Tiny Dancer by Elton John. Elton John's Tiny Dancer closed out his 4th album, Madman Across the Water, in November 1971. The song was inspired by a love letter written by John's songwriting partner, Bernie Taupin, filled with images of ballerinas. John's gentle piano and soaring chorus captured a sense of youthful learning, along with the longing of a cross-continental romance. Initially a UK B-side, Tiny Dancer gained momentum in America, where FM stations championed album tracks over singles. Its sophisticated arrangement by producer Gus Dudgeon mirrored the era's penchant for orchestral pop fusion. Live performances on tour elevated it into a sing-along highlight. Though it peaked at number 41 on the US Hot 100, the song's reputation grew over the years, boosted by film placements and covers. Today, Tiny Dancer ranks among Elton John's most beloved works, a testament to Taupin's vivid storytelling and John's emotive delivery. At number 1, it's Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. Released in November 1971 on Led Zeppelin 4, Stairway to Heaven became the crown jewel of classic rock. The track begins with an acoustic guitar intro by Jimmy Page and mandolin flourishes from John Paul Jones, then gradually builds into a thunderous finale. Robert Plant's poetic lyrics explore spiritual yearning and the quest for meaning, backed by thoughtful musicianship that perfectly complements these themes. Led Zeppelin chose not to issue the song as a single in the UK or US, making its reputation purely organic through radio play and live performances. It quickly became the most requested song in rock history. At over 8 minutes long, Stairway to Heaven defied radio conventions, yet climbed charts on airplay alone. Its influence rippled through generations of guitarists, spawning countless cover versions and earning its place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's canon. Decades later, its mystical aura and unforgettable solo endure. The year 1971 stands as a musical watershed. Artists harnessed evolving studio technologies and charted new emotional depths to mirror a world in flux. From Bowie's glam proclamations to McLean's mythic folk journey, these 8 songs distilled the hopes, fears, and aspirations of their time. They also shaped the future. Bowie's reinvention blueprint, Lennon's peace anthem, and Zeppelin's epic arrangements paved the way for punk, new wave, and metal. Meanwhile, singer-songwriters proved that vulnerability could command stadiums and hit singles alike. Half a century on, these tracks still reverberate. They remind us that in moments of uncertainty, music offers solace, sparks conversation, and connects disparate souls. So dust off your turntable, press play, and let 1971's greatest songs transform you back into a transformative year in sound.